Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Reading Rule, y'all. I'm Dr. Shay Parton, and this week I'm so excited to be talking to you about Melissa Wyatt's Funny How Things Change. I'm particularly interested to work through how Wyatt's text sits in conversation with Zentner's In the Wild Light from last week. If you didn't get a chance to check those out, I highly recommend that you do. I came upon Funny How Things Change actually via Twitter. Wyatt recently tweeted about the resistance she met to a story where a character chooses to remain working class, and that really intrigued me. There's a link to the thread in the description below. When I retweeted it, Rob Costello, who you may remember from my videos on the Rural Voices anthology, suggested I read Funny How Things Change. So here we are. Thanks for the recommendation, Rob. Funny How Things Change takes place in rural West Virginia, deep in the Appalachian Mountains. In it, we follow Remy Walker, whose family settled in Dwyer more than 160 years ago and have their own mountain and holler named after him. Remy is torn between getting out by following the girl he loves as she goes to college and staying in the place that he's always felt like is part of him. Through interactions with both insiders and outsiders, Remy grapples with knowing he should want to leave and wanting to be with Lisa, but also wanting to stay to be a steward of the land his family's been on for more than a century. Wyatt's stunning novel addresses issues and dominant narratives of class, adolescence, rurality, family, pride, linguistic justice, and success. So you know I love first pages. So I will read the first few pages here to give y'all a sense of the writing. On his arm, just above his left hand, were 3 black letters. He'd put them there himself when he was 12. Him and Jimmy, done it with coal dust, pounded in with a nail, drove through a stick. They never thought it would be permanent, but there it was, nearly 5 years on. His initials, R.A.W. Lately, that's how Remy Walker felt. Raw on the inside, raw on the outside. Lying beside Lisa in the deep shade of the woods, her long limbs tangled with his, he wondered if she could feel it too, feel it burning through her own skin. It had been coming on for some time, coming on with the end of their last year of high school, changing everything. Remy wished things could go on just the way they always had done, but something seemed to be pulling at him, like a persistent nudge to wake when you wanted to stay asleep. But waking up meant facing reality, that Lisa was leaving, going away, and he would be left behind. All around them, the late June air hung so sultry, Remy couldn't tell if it was his own hot, damp skin. No breeze moved the leaves, and the only sound was the drone of insects, and somewhere not far enough away, the shuddering impact of blasting. Remy flinched, turning his head instinctively. The top of another mountain, another lush green haven like this one, was going down to fast and dirty mining methods. Lisa inched along the blanket she'd spread on the ground and put her lips to his ear. "Come with me," she whispered. "Where to?" he asked, her warm breath raising gooseflesh down his left side. "To Pennsylvania when I go to college." She kissed his ear. "You could come along." He laughed and reached to break off a twig of spice bush. She was daydreaming, that's all. It was an easy place for it out here in the woods, this place nobody else knew but them, all wrapped in green and each other. He wasn't going to college, but she was, something that had been a blurry speck in the distance and was now just months away. He waved the spice bush twig under her nose, but she brushed it away and pushed herself up, looming between him and the canopy of trees that covered them, her pale hair so long it trailed across his chest. "Seriously," she said. "Come with me." They talked about it before lots of times, sometimes joking what it'd be like, what kind of apartment they'd get, how they'd stay up all night if they wanted, and there'd be nobody to tell them what to do. Even when it was serious, it had seemed a million years away, and for Remy, it had always had the safety of that distance, only now, here it was. Their last summer, and Lisa wanted to make the daydreams real. "Oh yeah, I'll major in front-end alignments." He drew her hair across his face, smooth against his lips, sweeter than the spice bush. "I don't mean go to college," she stiffened against him, "though you could, you know you could." She'd bought completely into the higher education salvation preached at school. Get up, get out. That was their answer to being poor in West Virginia. Don't stay in West Virginia. At least don't stay in the mountains. "Honey, I don't want to." "Okay, but you could get a job." She wrapped her arms tight around his chest, like he might fly away. There are gas stations in Pennsylvania, same as here. We'll get an apartment near the college. Remy, think. It's everything we always talked about. We could do it. We really could. She was right. It was what they'd fantasized about. Get up, get out, leave. She was every reason to say yes. He known it since the day back in 10th grade when she'd sat next to him in history class, crossed her silky legs and smiled. He'd been saying yes ever since, rewarded with the head-spinning awesomeness of knowing she'd chosen him, and if he loved her, he shouldn't even have to think. The chance to be with her was the only thing that mattered. She brushed his hair off his forehead with her fingers and held his eyes with hers. Remy, I can't imagine not being with you, she said. Leaving Daddy and Mama and even this place is one thing, but not you. Not when we can do something about it. Another muffled blast, and Remy thought he felt the earth shake under them. So there's the first few pages, and I'm itching to tell you all more about how place works in this novel and my personal reactions, but we'll tackle those in the next couple weeks. Until then, I hope you stay tuned and maybe pick up the book yourself. There's a link to buy it in the description. Thanks for stopping by. Y'all come back now, would ya?